Yo, yo. Hey, everyone. Well, I know it's been a long time, and yeah, just wanted to touch base. So, last time I posted, I don't know when it was, I was posting some crazy writing stuff, but I don't know, I've never really done this, but fuck it. I mean, you gotta stand for something, right? So, I don't know. Last the last 7 years of my life were extremely tough. I mean, yeah, everyone's got their stuff. Mine just happened to hit in the last 7 years. Hospitals. Uh, I don't know. I guess. I mean, let me start over. So, hello, everyone. I know it's been a while since I posted. In fact, I actually deleted Instagram not that long ago and only popped it back up because I emerged into the world once more and needed it for some international communication. But I guess in this new era of, you know, of just standing up and standing out and I guess speaking for what I and what people believe in, it might as well just share a little bit more. At this point it's almost so much in for just for the people that I know and know me. So right now I'm in Ukraine. Just got here yesterday to Kyiv. That's the city out there. I actually have a really good balcony. But uh, I just got here. This is my third time here and only the first time doing so stably. So I don't know how much you guys know. You probably know if we've touched base or I ever reached out with a crazy idea or who knows what has happened in the last X amount of years. I was going through quite a storm, a beautiful storm, a storm that takes processing, and uh, that storm was a storm of mental health, and it would keep coming around and around, and it's a vicious cycle the way mental health works. And for me, bipolar, so the first time, it's a really unique thing, and I could talk about it forever, but for me, bipolar was bipolar was an experience like never ever before. I'll tell you. I mean, bipolar was bipolar was a life of feeling like I didn't quite fit in, you know? And everyone says that, and everyone feels that in some way. I happen to feel it earlier on. I was always a little bit of the brunt of the joke, and I just never felt confident, you know? And um, so I pushed all that confidence that I did have to kind of towards one point, and that one point was more or less my vision, my internal vision, right? This idea of what I could do. And at first that was my body with athletics. You can see a little bit outside. It's actually curfew. There's curfew at midnight. So yeah, this is giving me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies. So where was I? So, anyways, I push a lot of those eggs. And the thing about things, you can write any narrative you want. You can spin any story you want. This is the one we're going to go with today. They're going to see how it pans out. We're going to see how long we stick with it. But I'm in the best place I've been in a long, long, long time. So good that almost every day I go on, I realize, whoa, I really wasn't good, even just the day before, or however long back. Just constantly fighting and trying not to really fight anymore for that peace, you know, that that being okay with life, not wanting to flee, but actually wanting more of it, getting closer to there. So for me, I pushed all my eggs, boom, sports, and I never really pushed them in the right way. I wasn't. I when I trained, I you know, wanted to try and max out my heart rate or work the hardest in the shortest burst, but I didn't train the most. I didn't I didn't do a lot of the X, Y's, and Z's you have to do to actually get it done. I just kind of just threw myself into more uh, intensity, you know. So I had a bunch of surgeries, and eventually I couldn't play sports anymore. And when that kind of fell through, it was all that energy that I had towards my athletics, which I couldn't realize anymore. I couldn't realize the level I dreamt of was off to my mind. And when I had these dreams and I felt I wasn't supported, what forever reason, not that I even deserve that. I mean, to be honest, I'm glad and I should have, and it went the way it was supposed to happen the way it's supposed to, so that I got here at this point and this far. But because of that, what I heard as rejection, I internalized and almost focused even more and narrowed my sights even more. You know, so much so that I got to such a pinhole that my brain had set upon this movie, and then taken that movie and taken on the problem it brought, and then dove into that as far as I could, and then so high and so far, and made this movie and up the government and all this stuff, and it just disequilibrated. I don't know. It threw my brain out of whack, and I couldn't control my energies. I couldn't control the energies that were falling onto me, that were falling out of me. I couldn't control what I was feeling. I didn't know what I was feeling. I didn't know anything. And so, I would just be pulled by them, you know. I just chase what I thought was love, or I just chase love, just the idea of it, you know. And I came to Ukraine the first time to I came to Ukraine the first time to I'd met someone a while ago, and I had felt the most I'd ever felt in my life for this person at that time. And I mean, I had mounted this whole project in Nepal, and because of the way I'd built it, I had already been in a hospital once, right? Because I made the film, I marketed it during COVID. I started being unable to control my brain, and I had to meditate in the mornings. And I'd wake up and immediately grab my phone and immediately be in work mode, and all day, every day. And as the film gained leverage and popularity, it went from like 1,000 or two to 10 or 12,000, and then 100,000, and started kind of skyrocketing. It felt like every view and every person who was supporting me was almost, their energy was like directly impacting me. I remember I had to run one day just to like get rid of the energy, and I couldn't control it anymore. And I couldn't control all the boundaries and thoughts I wanted to break through my mind, until essentially almost ran away and flipped my car. And at that point, I realized, a day or two later, that I had to turn back, into the monster. And when I turned back, that's when what they call psychosis, what I like to call almost being born. It's like so much stimuli from so many different places. It's so many energetic frequencies and such a depth of them, that whatever is really happening, whatever's true, whatever's not, whatever the truth finally emerges as at this realm is, it's a lot to handle. And it's not the normal, stuff. It has to do with either things that are deep in your mind or in the world's mind. Who knows? It could be reincarnations. It could be hearing voices. It could be seeing things. It could be understanding difficult mathematical equations or scientific equations, or whatever it might be that might seem outside of your grasp, or something that you further wanted. It might just start pouring in so fast that you can't even really understand it that quickly, and you fight through it. Now, because of the way I'd mounted my brain, I had accumulated a lot of data, and I thought I'd get through it quickly, but I did not. So I went through a hospital that one time, but as most people do, I denied that anything was wrong with me and came right out. Boom, nothing was wrong with me. Left the medication, really hard side effects. If anyone's been through the medication round, it is not fun. Some really hard side effects. And I felt this thing called akathisia, where it feels like your body is about to erupt out of your skin, and you pair that with the inability to control your mind, which could be thinking mean things, hurtful things, and thinking so much so that you have desires or whatever it may be. It's too much. And the easiest solution is to leave. And so I left the medication and said, nothing's wrong with me. And I went to Nepal. And fortunately, as these things in my life continue to happen, opportunities continue to befall me. And that film that I made ended up landing me a job that ended up getting me into a position to lead the actual on the ground change in Nepal for the project and the problem that we had uncovered, not obviously already existed, but we had displayed and that I had come to learn about. And because of just the circumstance, how the film was made, it ended up this idea ended up rising so fast that I got to the level that I was talking to the government and pitching them on this new project, and everyone was supporting it. And the thing is I was still coming off of this recent hospital visit and still sworn by all this data and this confusion of whatever, if there was reincarnation, what were all these signs and symbols? What was I seeing in these signs? A lot of signs. What did these all mean? And it was I was still fighting through all that, so it was very immature. And meanwhile, this project is just skyrocketing, and I can't. Once again, it's just too much. And you start to, call it ascend, whatever you want. You start to your mind starts to rise without you being able to hold on to any walls or anything. And so you start to take on this godlike everything. A veil of reality falls away, and you're just kind of a center, and it's like a video game that you just have to make all the right moves, whether that's eating clean. You're trying to learn it every second. And for me, when you get that deep and that early in the stage of mental health, you believe for me, it was whether it's coming from the future or from alternate time, wherever it's coming from somewhere else, and it is controlling me, and I have to do it, and all these things. And it was too much, but I didn't know, so I like I recently pitched the government, and they recently went for it. I recently had this phenomenal idea, and I'm spending my money, and I'm really fighting to finish this project, because the last thing I want to do is feel guilty for having my life kickstarted with the experience of people whose lives are still suffering. And I felt really guilty. And then one day, I had been reminded of this person with whom I'd felt a lot for a long time ago, and just freaking decided, I had never told this person how I felt or whatever it might be, and I was like, I am going to send it. Then I'm going to go full bore to Ukraine right now and leave everything. And the war had just started, and so I left, and I didn't sleep for 4 days, because in my mind, which was so elevated, I just wanted to get there as fast as possible. And what if someone dies? What if a bomb drops or whatever? Then I'll never get this off my chest. I'll never understand. Maybe there's an answer to the other half of this riddle, that's these reincarnations or whatever, and maybe someone else knows. There's a deep longing to seek answers elsewhere. 4 or 5 days later, right, I still hadn't slept. On that second or third day without sleeping, we came to a I can't believe I'm doing this. We came to a so this is right after the war started. We came to a long middle of the forest road, right? The man who I had hired by chance, right? These are all deep stories. Didn't want to drive on. I had to jump out because I refused to turn around. I had to jump out of the car, and all these cars were backed up, and it was a military border. And so the way these work is no one can cross either way. And well, it was late, and I was, whatever it may be, I felt like I couldn't turn around, and I took one step in past the board, which I shouldn't do, and then I stepped back, no one saw, and then I grabbed my backpack, which I had left, and I picked it back up, and I stepped in, and they yelled, and at that moment that I stepped in, I honestly was like, well, this is it. This is the power of love. Like, this person could die, and the only thing that matters in my life is telling this person how I felt in that moment, and that's it. That's the only thing that matters. And behind that, I kind of just wanted to see what was the power of love. How much could this do? And so I took a few steps, and then I think they started yelling and shouting, probably ran over with their guns. And obviously, this is like 2 a.m. No one's crossing anywhere. The war just started. There's a real feeling of fear everywhere in the country. And I just kept going, and they'd stop me, and I'd, try to appeal and tell them my story. And anyways, we actually made it through. The taxi driver came later, but I still, I had no idea where I was. Not only geographically, but I had no phone. I had no SIM. I mean, I had no SIM card. I don't think I didn't know anything, and I couldn't keep my head on. I'm swimming in a world of delusions. Like, the pillar turned. It's like you're on an acid trip, but this is real life, and I don't even have a coat. Someone gave me a coat. Um, that actually came later, because eventually the driver stopped, and I got out, and I'm like, fine, I'm going to hitchhike to Kyiv, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to follow my heart, right? So I started running down the streets and following my heart. And anyways, that didn't work. And so I started following signs, and I was running in the street and then running on the sidewalk. And all of a sudden, well, I had left my backpack with everything in it with someone on the street because I wanted to run faster. And well, they cops just showed up, and long story short, arrested me. And it came the moment, I think they were deciding to be sent to prison or to the mental health system. And I guess they sent me to a hospital, and I'm still deep in delusion and saying just stuff that to this day I can explain because I've come this far. But I was not rooted. Stuff like alternate timeline stuff I was saying. And anyways, I ended up in a hospital, and my dad actually. You have to realize I didn't tell anyone I was coming to Ukraine. I told one person in Nepal who I was very close with, and I just left. I didn't want anyone to know I was going to a war zone. This was just a full send, and obviously I didn't take into account that I'd end up in a mental hospital, right at the beginning of a war. And granted, so I was still far from the actual fighting, but at this point, no one knew how far the fighting would reach. And so I reached. I guess they charged my phone, which was broke. My glasses were broke, and my parents somehow found out where I was. And it was a very scary time in the U.S. And this is just after COVID too. And my dad, the champ that he was, braved it, and came and got me. And then there's a lot I'm leaving out, and this part I'm leaving out I've only recently learned, and I'm still learning, is how obstructive that was, how extremely difficult that was to just have not only your son vanish or your brother vanish, but for him to do it without word. And I guess now it seems like without even a care for them. I guess it's almost insulting. And then you not know, in a war zone he could be dead, and then he's in a mental hospital. I guess eventually you find that out after speaking with national government agencies in America and all this stuff. And the thing is, I was going through fucking acid trip for extended period, like just level 10. So I wasn't going to be able to empathize with that because I was too busy fucking holding on for dear life as my brain moved at a speed that was incalculable, that was so fast. It's like a treadmill that's turned up to infinity, and you can't get off. You know, or you're just a roll. So the only thing you can do is hang with and bear consciousness, or roll. And I didn't want to roll. I wanted to stay afloat, because you can never roll. You know, as someone who's been in crazy, you can't lose your mind. That's the worst part. You're always in touch in some way. Just how much are you in touch is the question. And he came, he got me. You know, part of me knew all I needed to do was get away from that space, from all that energy I was just fighting for an answer from, or whatever it was. Time went by, as goes with the mental health. And first of all, obviously, my dad's a champ. Um, so the amount of stories that can be told to support them and what I've learned in this process about what my parents have had to go through, and the exchange that you really have to learn in order to get out of this, how much you have to listen to others to get out of this. I could speak more about that than about my own story. And point is, I got home, and as happens, because of my upbringing, I never really, really wanted to, I never fully doubted myself. So I always believed that maybe there was something that I was getting at, that there was some end to this tunnel, or there was just some fruit, you know, whether how many fruits there are, I don't know, but I was going. And sorry, just getting some texts. And gosh, this is like, I'm just doing this. It's just happening. So yeah, so I don't know what I obviously, they shoot you up. So they shoot you up with all these medications in your ass. And for me, that meant a lot. And that also means it don't really affect me, because I can turn my blinders off so much that I cannot be affected by a lot of stuff consciously. That stuff will come in later. Oh, will it come? Or so I think. But in the moment, I can turn off to pretty much everything and leave my eyes on one single focus. So it doesn't matter how many drugs you give me, because I'll be okay, you know? Or, yeah, in that case, glued to my idea. I'm sure enough drugs can put me out. Obviously, it can do anything to anyone, but, you know, like hyperboles, exaggerations are the name of the game. Anyways, I got home, and after I tried to peak in this state, you know, talking with alternate realities and people and lovers from other dimensions, or whatever it may be, um, I just kept, what if it's real? And I kept going after it. I kept going after it safely, you know, and this time with medication. And I told my doctor, I'm going to push psychosis. I'm going to pull down everything I can, because I didn't want the inexplainable to be unexplainable forever. And I felt like I could battle through it. I felt like I could make it through this, you know? And these are some crazy fucking months. I mean, I'm talking to myself in my room and writing, I don't know how many thousands of words. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands. I don't know, 20,000, like, like a lot. Like in a day. I don't know if it's 80,000. That's probably too much. I just couldn't stop. I think it was like 20,000. Let's go with that. But I just couldn't stop. And I just wanted to pull down everything. And I was trying to learn how to control this state. And when I was done with the book, yet another book, I swapped yet another medication. And so begins the rounds of medications, you know, finally deciding to work with the doctor. The doctor's working with me, because we finally found a pair of two people that are in a moment in time in which they'll work with each other, which is so rare. And for anyone going through this process, it's so rare, because your mind tells you don't need medication, because you see, but you don't see it all. And maybe you don't in the end. Well, that's what we're getting. Point is I worked with him, but so begins the days, or I don't know, I don't know, you just stay in bed, and sometimes people are depressed. For me, it was like my energy was negative in depression, but my energy was still so high. So I would lie in bed just for the feeling to pass, just for the day to pass, because the energy was just, uh, and then you suppress, and then you get lost because everything you've chased, right? The project you just launched failed, everything you've done failed, so you suppress, so you lower yourself, so you squander, and you well, that's the wrong word, you scrawl and you crawl and you drown and you try to find anyone and anything, and you listen to any and everyone is saying, but you don't listen to yourself. It's like if you go from listening only to yourself to only listening to others, and your confidence is so small. And so you'd think maybe I have to be for me it was physicist at first because I wanted to actualize these ideas. And then, well, that's crazy. Well, be practical. Oh, well, maybe, therapist, or how can you take what you know and you pinball and then get a real, I'm not going to say real job. Every job is real. Every job is equally important. But for me, getting a job that I felt didn't fit me, get one of those. Get that job, get this job, do that, do whatever it is, and you try and you apply, and I'll apply, and I'll be depressed, and I won't talk, and I won't feel normal, and my mind will be thinking a million thoughts out in public, and I'm there, but I'm not there, and I'm fighting. I'm just fighting. And then eventually I get to the 300th job application, of which a job I finally get an offer, that dream job I'm supposed to have, and I don't want it. And I have to say no, because betting on me is why I'm still here and still alive. And I say no, and no, these things I'm experiencing aren't good. I'm gonna be good. And then okay, get a job, get a stupid restaurant job. Go back to basics. Swore off what you never swear you'd do again, or do what you swore you'd never do again, and get to work. And then you start to make a little bit of money, and with a little bit of money comes a little bit of confidence. A little bit of confidence comes it all roaring back. It's the thing that I had to learn, is that this bug, this thing, it's not. It wasn't. It was me. It was my style of thinking. No amount of medication could change that. You know, could it help? Yes. Could it help and change for a moment? Yes. But long term, I was always going to pursue what I felt confident about. And every 8 months, every time I got down and then got a job, got some money, got some confidence, it would come roaring back. And then it would come. And then I'd be taken by it. And I'd have to, go through the Bible, or crucify my jacket, or do these crazy things, and then take off back to Ukraine to help. Go to the core, Go to the core. And I'd go back there, and I go back there because the person that had opened my heart long ago was there, and I guess I didn't know how to open my heart. I didn't know how to open my heart. So I figured I had to go back, and I'll fight in the war and whatever, and let's save the war. Let's stop this war. Let's stop this war. Let's figure out a way to intellectualize it. We did the movie. Let's figure out something, or I'll drive an ambulance. I don't know, you know. We from America, and just on my life, how people always see. I always want to see both sides of everything, and just fight for the solution. That's it. So I came back, but every second in that trip, I was in it. I was deep in it. I was so deep in it that I had to do math. I had to do math on these little journals 24/7. Math about how to calculate a revolution, and, do I think all these things have merit? A little bit. And I could walk you through them. You could ask my friends. I think I had one over recently, and we walked through some of the scripts I did, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, some of it's nuts. Yeah, it's nuts, but some of it makes sense, and that's the hardest part, is that when you're going through some of these experiences, it makes sense to you, right? But where is it really? Is it here or is it there? So for 2 or so weeks, I worked nonstop. I stayed in a hostel. I was not okay. I used to wake up and feel cold, and if I felt cold, it meant the spirit was possessing me, and I had to get up because I was late. And if I took a shower and the water got cold, it meant I was late, and I had to be on time. I just had to be on time. You just have to be on time, and that's how it was. Making sure I had collected all the data and done all the work I could have done in that time that I was here and worked as hard as I could, but I was not in a stable place. And so I also didn't treat the people around me, stably. I was I just was rude. I was rude. I was berating, emailing too much. Um, but eager to get what was out in me, and believing that other people somehow had to unleash that, you know? Which they do. We're all pulling each other on our way. We're all pulling each other on our way. And this is the way it had to go. And maybe it's not the way it had to go. Maybe I could have had more help along the way. And maybe there could have been more people like me right now helping those who are going through this with some guidance about how to navigate it. Because you're still going to feel emotions that are overwhelming. But how can you respond so that you don't come after a past love, or charge into a war zone, or launch a company you don't need? I guess I've done most of these things, but um, drive a car too fast, or whatever crazy thing happens to be on your mind. How can you? Maybe we can help each other now fight through some of these things as they happen. So I come back, and calculating light speed, all this crazy stuff, and I come back, and sure enough, uh, you know, it's almost a hard reset again, and now I just ran up because of numbers and signs, $16,000 worth of debt. So I had to ask for uh, financial help for a month, and then I took off because I could never live my life in America with the time I needed to focus on getting through this shit, because I guess it pained me too much to work other jobs, or I'd always feel like I needed to explode. I couldn't deal with it. So I took off to Mexico, and here I am still trying to process, and I'll just continue to, you know, okay, then I saw the power, and I saw the power of love. When I stepped across that border, and on my first time there, I saw the power of love, and maybe I can make a movie that could stop this war, something that could bring attention to something in a new way and make everyone think and be positive like I did with the porter. Maybe that's possible. Maybe that's possible. So I began learning Ukrainian and Russian at the same time, and after a couple of weeks, I'd pitter patter out and be like, this is stupid. Wait, what about this giant company? And then I'd go to that, and then I'd go to this idea and that idea, and then I'd go from lower Mexico to Mexico City, back to the States, to India, to Nepal, and to Egypt. And if I can't I'll go. If I can't, why do I want this? To make a company, to help the world, to make a machine, to communicate with other realities. Well, let's win the lottery. And then if none of this is gonna work, and the God's gonna give me all these signs, I'm gonna go to Gaza and try to make a movie there, and help that conflict, and whatever it may be. I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to Egypt, or help trying to fix the Gaza Israel conflict. When I say sides, it's just about spreading love. And so then I went to Egypt, and, and I started to just say, screw it. I care little about my life. I can't live in this world of whatever it is any longer. I'm just gonna go into it. And I ended up getting the sickest I've ever been. And it was the type of sickness I didn't want to move at all. I had no energy. I'd eaten a pigeon, I'd drinking the water, I'd taken my meds a bit late. I was in I was in a hostel. Um, I heard a voice occasionally, like 3 or 4 times I've heard just a voice, just my name, and it would really freak me out. And because I was just never stable. And if I missed a little bit of the med, whatever it may be, uh, point is I got so sick that I said, okay, fine. And I'm defeated then. I'm defeated. After all these years, after all these running, after everything I've tried to do to help humanity, none of it's worked. I'm defeated. And I guess I just started kind of returning to reality since that point, slowly, slowly. And then what happened? Well, you lower, you get a little bit more pragmatic each time around. Okay, you need to finish things. Let's finish another book. Let's do it. Let's finish the work. Let's do this. Let's do that. And then, of course, I get some money. And that confidence, because that money comes, that idea comes, maybe I can make a film to stop something, to do what I did with The Porter, but on a bigger scale somewhere else. And then, boom, it's coming back. But this time, I wasn't going to let it rule me. This time I forced myself into psychosis so many times that I understood it more or less, and it was still completely overwhelming, but I at least could keep my head on and understand, what to look at, what to not look at for that moment. And I just, I had never, after years before, I had OD'd on a drug and marijuana. I know you say you can't OD, but it was that treadmill. I created schizophrenia in my head. Bad things, bad thoughts, center, you know. I can describe I can describe most of that stuff later if you want, but I'd created a lot of that since that day, and that day was really the day I couldn't get over. I felt like I saw infinity, and I just couldn't grasp that was out there. And after feeling defeated, I think one day I just fuck it. I took some shrooms. I was feeling good. It was like a party, and walking home at night, and then getting home. It was the first night that I accepted it. I accepted what could be like the. I wonder how I look like. I'm trying to learn how to see, anyways. Um, I accepted. Anyways, I accepted my. I took that drug, and there have been so many times where you hear the voice, or you'll see these images flash and you can't control them, and I just stood back and just let it happen. And my brain flashed for hours, and I just watched it, and it was like infinite movies playing, and all these colors, and these eyes closed too. I mean, I think my eyes were open. I literally couldn't see anything at one point in the bathroom, and at that point I got all scared. But no, but for the first time I accepted what could be the infiniteness of my brain, and I was okay with it. I mean, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't losing it. I just did shrooms. I could sleep, and it gave me confidence. And I started to think maybe I could control this, and maybe I can. And as I like to get things done, so I went and bought some more shrooms and microdosed my way through it, and almost brought it on. And that is a whole journey of its own. But maybe this is an exaggeration, but what passed as 11 days in the real world was 1.5 days for me. I mean, I don't think the sun rose more than 1.5, one time. And it was like 11 days. And on that 11th day, a neighbor found me, and I was so deep in the well after that. But I was still fucking here. And I knew what I was doing now. And they brought me to the ER because I tried to kiss someone, thinking they'd turn into this girl from another reality, literally from another planet, who I'd never met, that she turned into the most beautiful girl in the world. Boom. And so I just kept kissing a very kind man who came to help me, thinking that he'd turn into this most beautiful girl ever. Never happened. So obviously, yes, they wanted to bring me to the ER. I was in such a deep meditative state. But while I was completely consumed, I could hide it. I could hide it. I could control it. And as so goes with some of these experiences, you never quite know what really happened and what didn't happen. And that doesn't just mean for me, that also means for other people. What did I see that they didn't see? What did I do that they didn't see I do, or whatever it might be? It's a very hard spot, but my mom caught wind this time. She came down. And you see the repetitive nature of this and how fucking embarrassing is it, for a 30-year-old man. Yes, this is the story of my life. But let's be honest, it's a tough thing. I mean, but we gotta get over the age thing, because this can happen at any age. And so it my mom showed up. And this was the worst I'd ever felt. I'd consumed all this energy. I'd let someone be born in me. Like, I'd fall over on the ground and believe someone else could like learn how to walk and be born and stand and run in my body. Crazy stuff. And then I let someone in theirs. And so I felt like I had all this energy in my body, and then they wouldn't speak to me like a normal human being, and I was erupting, and I just wanted a conversation with someone. I just wanted to speak to someone and to run around. I just wanted to run around. I'd made it this far through where I'd been to a war zone, I'd done all this shit. I do what I had. I just want to run around and get this out, But no, they tie me down. And then it only makes it worse. You tie anyone down when all they want to do is run. They don't want to hurt. They don't want to do anything. If you tie someone down, it's not going to be good. Not that I did anything bad, but it just makes everything amped up even more. And I wanted it to end. I just preferred to be dead. It was like an active, I want to kill myself. Like, I I really don't want to be alive. Not because they're depressed or anything like that, or it's too hard, but it was an active, I want to be dead. And I never felt like that before. My mom's sitting there right now, I'm telling her this, and she can't do anything, and God, my mom, I don't know what, luckily she helped me with a little bit of medication, and luckily I had some medication, and yeah, and my mom, luckily I managed to get a couple pills, and I stabilized and slept, and they never brought me to admitted, because I was too stable. Because I had fucking, I was quelling this, and it still took days, and it still took, the energies didn't stop from there. I was still on my journey to get through this so that I would never end up controlled by this again. And a couple days later, I knew that, I had to stop these medications. And so I think I stopped them. I had already been weaning down for a long time. And then I really only missed it one day, and then they got a little in the hospital, and then I think I stopped 2 days later, all of them. But I'd already weaned down some of them, and I was like, it's now or never. Like, I'm breaking through. Like, this is it. I'm here. I'm breaking through, and I had to go into the deepest fucking meditation 24/7, all the time, to try and. What were these energies that were coming, that were that were controlling me? What were they physically? What was I feeling? How can they come deep in my body? How can I learn to, what are they? And can I feel them? And whatever it is, I just had to keep learning 24/7. And then comes the hard conversations, right? And damn, I mean, this is a long pod, but we're just, fuck it. I'll tell you guys this because, I guess sometimes I get caught up in my own story, and at this point I don't even want to hear the sound of my voice, but I want to finish this. Because I frankly don't really like talking anymore sometimes. But it's just, I guess we're trying to help each other out here. So you had to go with your gut yet again. And I had to believe that the moves I had made were working. and I was going to get through this. And so a few days after I stopped medication, after I'd been meditating, 24/7, and I caught a bit of sleep, like a little bit. I think the first night was an hour or so, and then a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And, you know, I told her from a very stable, level headed, listening perspective, but also strong enough to stand by what I believed in, which is not an easy thing for someone who's been through this, because you've experienced something that everyone is going to tell you isn't real or false or whatever it is, and is crazy, and you're sick, and and all these issues. And the thing about the brain is, unlike the body with a broken bone, no matter how many times you tell someone they're sick, something like this, they're always going to believe there's a chance to heal it, because we don't know enough. And that's the beauty, is we don't know enough, so that some of us try and some of us do. There's been many people who've tried, and many people like me who've failed before, but many people who've succeeded and who are succeeding like me. And I told her, another very difficult conversation, but these are conversations that are good to have with other people, just to be honest, and to be respectful, and to understand what's within each other's limits, and how much people should be connected to each other and whatnot. But then I just continued to take the steps, and no matter how many times I fought the idea, I always thought I could make some type of movie that could help this. And I I knew that I could only grow to so much of myself in the environment I lived in, because you know, I had brought such a hard reality on so many people there, and suffered so much, that I was in an environment that I think was rather, that at least I perceived as hard to break free from, because I felt like it was all about me, you know? Which, of course, all you really need is a change of mind to beat these things. But it was hard for my mind to change there while I was there. And I had a wedding, and I went to Spain. And I thought, well, this will be my chance to really get my own space and really breathe. And then another month of really deep, now physical work, and exercise, and really reactivating the body I'd let go to sleep. And then comes, always, it's still there, but this time going back at the idea of, what if I could do more? What if I can make some type of film? And so I said, well, a lot of this journey is conquering my fears. And that's the main part, is just conquer my fears, so I can get through any possible reality of me having to fall back into a hospital because I can't control my mind. Don't want that to happen again. So I need to eliminate my fears, whether that's walking around without glasses, you know, or whether that's whatever that is. But do that and believe myself. I need to do more of that, because that is getting me healthy and has gotten me through all this shit already, right? See, that's the thing. This journey is always growth. It's always improvement. It might not look it, but you are always improving. You are always growing. Even if someone doesn't say that, even if and I've said it to my friends, think they're doing the wrong thing, everyone is always doing the best they can in a way they can. And though you can't see which aspect, which part of their mind, or which motion they're working on, or breathing, or being, or bleeding into, whatever it may be, they are growing, and they will arrive and be more stable in the end. And it just doesn't always look like that. And so I, I apologize to my friends. So I sometimes do get really controlling, but whatever. We all have our flaws, and unless we can all be perfect. No, but and I said, I need to go there, because this is a site of emotional pain, physical pain, of inability to control myself multiple times, and yet it's still dragging me, you know? It's still dragging me. This love that this quantity of love that I was once open to, is dragging me back to Ukraine. I feel like I need to open to it. I feel like I need to look in myself, and no, I feel like I need to open to that. And so I came back. All those fears about I'm gonna lose it again. I have to have another hard conversations with my mom, and things that are really hard for parents, especially giving all of our past and my stubbornness and all that stuff. I had to. I came back, and still, it's a very active thing. But every day, it's like a miracle. I've been off of medication, uh, maybe almost 2 months, and every day it's like Tom Brady, or whoever you may be. You have to stretch to make sure you don't hurt yourself in the future. So every day is a conscious effort to make sure, as the best that I can, to make sure I'm being healthy and balanced, so that I can stay in control of my energies, which continue to grow until I can really feel stable and in love with this world that I can be a part of and I can contribute in the way that this heart, that this music needs to get out. You know, that's all my goal is, just to find the best way for this music to get out of my soul, and and to do it with it instead of be controlled by it, or you know to do it for me to be the one. And so here I am. So I came here. Dreams of grandeur often lead us places. That's okay as long as you manage in the right way. It's okay to admit that you have problems. And it's okay to even use those problems to cure themselves. You know? Sometimes you can't really get rid of something, but you can use the energy it has to push you to a place where you don't want that. And so here I am. I've got an apartment. I think I'm going to settle in and learn Ukrainian. And I'm just going to keep trying to work towards, I guess, maximizing myself. And if that means straying from some certain idea, that means straying from that. It means you give up whatever crazy is crazy to you, and you stick with whatever is I guess pure, not really a great word, but whatever is it's your soul. And so I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to listen to. I've never really been. I've been here twice, but I've never to see the tolls, whichever war, whichever side, the tolls that a war takes on someone's heart for years. I don't understand that. And wars are the center of humanity's biggest problems. These are the places that need our attention. This is why I'm here, because I want to help, because I like intensity after everything I've been through, and because this is what I do. This is I want to figure out I don't know, how can I help? How can I help this issue as a human race that we're fighting through? I don't know. So anyways, I'm here. Got a sweet balcony, but the bureau broke, so I kind of have to sneak out here. There we go. There you go. Oh, not a bad place. I gotta smoke tobacco because fuck it. I wanted to see what it was like before I die. And because, yeah, because sometimes I believe that after all what I've been through, if you accept, certain things with love, it can improve you. But anyways, now what's the plan? Plan is learn Ukrainian, get a feel for the new surroundings, culture, learn and see how I can, in my skills, can be of assistance, whether that means staying or whether that means going, meaning leaving Ukraine or going to, home or wherever my journey's got to take me to get to a place where I can be more stable, have more of a career, and be more of a contributing person on this planet, Thank God for what life has brought me so far, I mean, thank God, you know, I say, like, you can thank whatever you want. You can thank the sofa, thank God, thank Allah, thank whoever, whatever you feel for. But it's just freaking sweet to finally feel like I have footing and I can like step into life and be like, well, what do I want to do? You know, maybe this energy is it doesn't continue to take control with this. What do I want to do? You know, do I want to start a company in Spain? You know, do I want to make a movie? I don't know what it will be, but I know that my goal is just to continue to improve, baby, and learn, because that's what it's about. Learn from the people around us. So I guess that's an hour-long video for now. I still have some time to get some food, but yeah, let's go get a quick bite to eat. But otherwise, there's curfew at 12. But otherwise, yeah. So if you know anyone here, hit me up. Let's see. Let's see how we can help everyone connect, and let's see how we can just, you know, solve the problem and end the suffering. Because, you know, suffering's everywhere, but we can minimize the level of suffering. Trust me, I've minimized mine. If I can minimize mine, we can minimize the world. So yeah, peace.